And I may just mute you anyway. Welcome, everyone, to my channel. Hopefully, I will have people here. If I don't, oh well. I have Joyce with me. She's muted right now because we're having a little technical difficulties. We haven't done this before, so this is our first time. But we wanted to go live tonight, so we are here. So I'm going to talk for a little bit, and then I'm going to let Joyce talk a little bit. So basically, this is kind of on the fly. We're trying something new. I want to talk. I have a lot to share. Joyce wants to talk. She has a lot to share. So a little bit of background and why we're doing this. And later at the end, if there's anybody live with us, I will do some tarot readings. But I'll probably throw some cards even if there isn't. So I met Joyce through internet radio. She had a show on Wolf Spirit Radio back in 2015. She saw me in the chat talking about my dying with wool and using herbs. So eventually she got in touch with me and I ended up being a guest on her show. So, and we've been talking together ever since. So we've built quite the friendship. So I'll let Joyce tell you about what she does, and then I'll come back and talk about what I do. And I'm going to unmute her now so she knows.
Thank you, Heidi, so much for having me on. I greatly appreciate it. And it's really an honor here. And it's been awesome knowing you, for all these years and becoming friends. Unfortunately, we've never met in person, but we have our ongoing phone chats. So my podcast that I was doing at the time was called It's Your Life, and it has to do with natural living. So like natural holistic living, just using materials that are from the earth and that are available to us to use those things to keep us healthy, but also if we have an issue to help us to regain our stamina. So that's what I do. And I started researching ways to live naturally back in 2011. In 2012, me and my husband went totally natural. What does it mean? It's all of our food is organic. Our seasonings are organic. Our cleaning products are all plant-based. Yes, it's quite an undertaking, but it's well worth it in the long run and well cost the money that goes into it. So one of the things I started doing too was formulating skincare products when I learned how corrupt the skincare industry was. And I do that now. My website is hborganicskincare.com. And not only do I provide people with good quality skincare products, but also with shungite for protection against the electromagnetic field and other crystal jewelries and other products. So that's what I do, and that's what I'm all about and what I'm passionate about. And I want to help you to live a better quality of life naturally.
Thank you so much, Joyce, for that. So as you know, what I do, if anybody knows, I'm trained in herbalism. I'm a certified in therapeutic herbalism through Blazing Star Herbal School. And I also did a 2-year working apprenticeship at Wise Way Herbals. And I also studied shortly with Susan Weed, among others. So that is something that I use daily in my own life. And I have taught people, and I am happy to share that with others and teach when needed. I have been working with the elements since I was pretty much 19 years old. I'm 58 now. So that's something that I'm very familiar with. And I'm also, I read tarot. I'm a professional tarot reader, and I like to use tarot as a way to improve people's life. Tarot can be used for predictive, and it works well for that. But tarot can also be used as a way to dig deep into your psyche and bring up issues that you may need healing. It's all about asking the right questions. So that happens, a lot of people want to know, will this guy love me? Well, basically, the best question it asks, how can I cultivate love in myself so that I attract the right type of person to me? I'm also a wool spinner, and I used to dye wool with plants. And it's something I can do, but I don't need to do right now. But it's something I have in my repertoire, as well as being a very creative and artistic person, although it's been a difficult year for me. So that's kind of what I'm all about. And we're hoping to do a podcast together. So this is just the start of this. And hopefully we'll grow the audience as we go. And hopefully next time we'll get the technical issues working out. It's just that it's not recognizing Joyce's camera and we're getting an echo. And that's something to just take a little bit of time to figure out. And once we get it figured out, it should work really smooth. So I gotta let Joyce talk, and then I'm mute myself, which does not lead for a really pure, good conversation.
Yeah, that's awesome, Heidi. And that's what really attracted me to Heidi was the fact that she had this natural living about her with taking wool and using plant-based materials to dye it versus using harmful chemicals. And the fact that she was an herbalist, you know, I've studied herbalism myself, and I would not call myself a herbalist, but you know, that's one of the modalities that my husband and I use in our daily life to help us to maintain our health or to deal with an issue if it so comes about is herbs. And I love using herbs because just it's so natural, it's so pure, you know, compared to other things like essential oils or, you know, I mean, even like infusions and extracts, I just feel like drinking a cup of tea from something that is plant based. I mean, first off, it's very grounding. And secondly, because it's right from the earth, it's going to help to raise our natural vibrational frequency, which is very important that we tend to. Wouldn't you agree, Heidi?
Absolutely. I'm sorry about having to switch a mics. It makes it a little difficult, but we'll get, this is just the first time, so we'll get that all worked out. So yes, absolutely. Herbs are great. I love herbs. Like I said, I use them daily, and it's something, like I said, that's usually in my repertoire. I follow methods of the drinking herbal infusions. I've backed off lately, but it has been part of my life for most of my life. Right now, I really am into making sure I have seaweed every day. I think that's really important. Seaweed is loaded with iodine and iron, and it's also really great for the thyroid. And with a lot of people having thyroid issues, which may stream back to radiation in the atmosphere around us, it's really good to support that with seaweed. It's one of the nature's best food. It's from the ocean, which our blood is very much like the ocean. So yeah, I definitely agree that it's very important to have a healthy based diet, no matter what type of diet that you choose, because I think you have to find the right diet that works for you. I was vegan, and it really wasn't working for me. So I went back to eating meat, but I definitely source that the best that I can get. And that's what I believe everybody should be doing, and source what you can locally. Source whatever you can locally. That's the best thing. I mean, sometimes we have to get things from outside of our regions, but if we can get something within our region, we should be doing that, because that not only does that support our local economy, it it supports us because our bodies are already familiar with that environment. So eating from our environment locally really supports our systems in a way that wouldn't if we were eating as locally as possible. So that's good to support your local farms, your local farm stands. You know, they're the people that are going to be there for you. You know, if things really go south, like I have a feeling we're going to go through some really rough periods ahead. I've been feeling this. So we want to be supportive of our local farmers. We want us to be supportive of our local businesses. I think it's key moving forward. We got away from that. You know, we need local farms. Um, they're the bread and butter of our society, and we've gotten away from that. And the more bigger you get, the less healthier it is. So these smaller farms are using less um, pesticides, less this, because they're small and they're local. So it's a lot better to support them. And there's a lot in your area. They're called CSA, Community Supported Agriculture, where you pay them a little bit a month or yearly to get produce from a local farm. So I really encourage people to get out there and support their local CSAs. I think they can be found in every state across this country. So there's really no excuse to get out there and support them. And a lot of them sell to local stores, especially your co-op stores. So even if you don't support the CSA, support them at your local co-op. Wouldn't you agree, Joyce? Let me unmute you.
Oh, Heidi, I totally agree 100%. You know, the beef that we get where we get our beef from is actually a farm here it's not in Louisiana. That's where I'm at right now. It's in Mississippi. But, you know, she's very transparent. We can go to the farm if we want to. And I recommend that, you know, if somebody does not want to let you visit their farm, that's a red flag that something's wrong. But you know, farmers markets are a great place. That's where I've met a lot of the people where I get my beef and where we get our chicken. We know how they do things. We know how they feel about how their animals are not only fed but treated, which is really important, because if you have animals that are not treated well, then they're going to release that hormone into the meat, and that's where you get tough meat. And not only that, but then that's transferred into your body, and that's not healthy for us. So we want to have good quality food, and I agree with that 100%. And you know, Heidi, you had mentioned about the thyroid, and one of the things too that's contributing to thyroid issues is soy. My son was put into a situation where he was forced to eat a lot of soy-based products, and from that he landed up with thyroid issues, and he strongly believes it was due to the soy. So, and soy is highly genetically modified in the US. Last time I checked, it was like 98%. So at this point in time, who knows what it is now. And when it comes to genetically modified food, you know, they're saying, oh, it's fine. We've been doing this for thousands of years, for hundreds of years. No, you have not. You're talking people have been crossbreeding, they've been interbreeding, they've been doing it naturally. These people are taking plants into a laboratory and they are injecting them with pesticides. You know, mainly what's being done is Roundup. And Heidi, when you were talking about, you know, the pesticides that are being spread on crops, Roundup it has a ingredient, glyphosate, which is actually a patented antibiotic. You take one round of antibiotics, it kills your gut microbiome. That's where 80% of our immune system is located, is in our gut. One round of antibiotics kills your gut microbiome for 2 years. 2 years. That's so, you know, you're breaking down your immune system. And, you know, now with the things that are going on, people are getting sick. Is it because this thing that's out there is so horrific or so bad? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say it's because the majority of people that live in this world today, their bodies are broken down from all the harmful chemicals that they are bombarded by on a daily basis. Would you not agree, Heidi?
I would definitely say that that plays a lot into it. Because we are a product definitely of our environment. This is definitely true. Um, so yeah, it definitely plays into it. Um, okay, I'm drawing a blank. I usually can't shut you usually can't shut me up, I'm usually like I can talk for hours, but okay, thank you. So yeah, it is important. I think and the environment surrounding us also has to do with emotional environment, I believe. Emotional environment is very important. We don't all what some people don't realize that we in my experience, and this is my experience only, we eat our emotions in a certain way. They are food for our psyche. They are food for whatever. And if we hold on to emotions, or if we're in a state of fear, that totally affects our body in a lot of negative ways. And believe me, I can go on some people may not know this about me, and I don't talk about it often, but and Joyce hates it when I use these words, but it is a technical term, so I'm going to use it. So basically, I was huge, the morbidly obese, and I've lost quite a bit recently in the last several years. So, yeah, she's telling me through the chat, no, don't say that. But that's just a technical term. I don't own that. I say I formally, I don't identify myself. I'm just using that as a technical term so that people understand that I've been to hell and back when it comes to weight. And I realized a lot of that was eating my emotions, literally swallowing what I was feeling, because I was always taught not to express what I was feeling. Hold everything in, don't express it. So it took me time to learn to start really expressing myself. And that's why I really want to speak to people now, because I don't feel I have a chance to really share my story, how I found health, how I've gone through Lyme disease, how I've gone through technical term only obesity, and I feel like I've come out the other side. And it's still a process. Everything in life is a process. I find every day there's something new to learn. I never want to stop learning. Learning is a process, learning about my body, learning how magical and incredible, and how it's self-healing, how it's simply amazing. We don't give our bodies the due that they deserve. We do not honor them, or at least I haven't learned to honor. And I see this in the mass culture, how we don't honor our bodies like we should be. Our body is our temple, and we should be honoring our bodies as a temple. This is how we express ourselves through this life, right? This is our temple, and we should be taught to nurture and honor that body, honor that light within us, and share that light within the world. This is what we are, the light. We are beauty. Our bodies are simply amazing. We just need to get it out of the way and allow them to do. We need to feed them good food. We need to be able to breathe in a natural way. This was given to us for a reason. This was given to us for a reason. We do not need to be obstructed in that. Not at all. It's not helping anybody. It's not making us healthy. Why do we have nostrils? Would you cover up a horse? Anybody know horses? They have these big noses because they have to run. and they have to be able to take in oxygen as they run. So they have these big wide noses. And if you've ever seen a horse running, those noses open really wide. They can't be restricted. It just doesn't work for them. And it's not good for us. And that has been scientifically proven, you know? So let's honor our body temple. Let's feed it well with everything. You know, we do. We have a lot of pollution. When I was growing up, our river was different colors because of all the pollution that went into it from the paper mill, plus among other stuff. I don't see that now, but it doesn't mean it isn't polluted. It's not changing colors anyway. So we have, if we treat our body like a temple, then we're going to treat Mother Earth as a temple. And right now, we're not treating Mother Earth as our temple. So that's why this sickness. Wellness comes from treating our temples with respect. That be that the body temple, being Mother Earth. Yes, if you're spiritual, creator, however you name that, but we are embodied humans on a planet that is the earth. And that's where our first respect is to our temple, and then a second respect is to Mother Earth, and then creation and creator and God, however we choose to name that. Because if we do not respect those, we do not respect women, and we do not respect each other. And okay, I got up on my soapbox. Like, see, you can't shut me up sometimes. So I'll throw it back to Joyce and see if she has anything to add.
Okay. One thing I like that you said, you said planted and then you changed it to planets. But you know what? Are we not planted here? Do we not have roots and attachment to the earth? That go ahead and they ground us, and they which helps to keep our body, our temple healthy. We need to be outside, and that's a problem with today's society, is that they have made sure to keep us so busy with electronics, with phones and with computers, that we don't get outside. We don't get into the sun. We're not getting the vitamin D that we need. And that's one of the ways that our body sufficiently gets vitamin D is through the sun. And they have got us now to where, staying inside. And I want to mention that the air inside the house is more contaminated than the air outside of the house. I have a hard time wrapping my head around that concept, because our world is just so contaminated with harmful chemicals and toxins. But no, Heidi, you were right. We're planted. we're planted. We've got our roots here on Earth, and we're deeply planted. And you were talking about people and being comfortable with ourselves and in our bodies, and from previous conversations that I've struggled with that because of various reasons, like with dealing with siblings and people saying stuff to us, and it get into our heads. But I have realized through time that I spent here on this earth that we are all different. And what works for me won't necessarily work for Heidi. What works for Heidi isn't necessarily going to work for me. We need to listen to our bodies and give our bodies what it needs. We need to figure that out. Our bodies talk to us. We just have to listen to it and pay attention to what it's saying. And if we have to do research, if we have to go to somebody else to figure out the problem, then that's what we need to do. But one thing that bothers me is, like, when I talk about eating organic, people are like, oh, it's so expensive. What's your health worth? If you're going to go ahead and you're going to eat organic, then you're going to eat. What I have found is that I'm eating less food And therefore, to me, I feel like, okay, I was eating non-organic before, I'm eating organic now. Before, when I was eating non-organic, I was eating more food, I was gaining weight. Organic, I lost weight, I'm eating less food. So I figure like the cost is going to go ahead and weigh out as far as that's concerned. But again, you have to listen to your body. You have to figure out, what does my body need, because we are all different and we are all unique. And I was making notations here, and I've got garbage, but I'm not sure what that's pertaining to, is as far as garbage. I think maybe it was the garbage inside of our heads, the garbage that people put there. And it's not always easy to get out. It's not easy to forget about the cruel things that people say to us, whether it be from our past or in our present, because we're human. And I was just telling Heidi earlier, I said, being human is not a bad thing. We were bombarded by so many electronics, and it makes it look like electronics are a perfect world, and it's really not. But it's like I told Heidi earlier, I said, I love it when people make mistakes, because it shows me that you're a human being, and it's okay to be human. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to have feelings. That's what it was with the feelings and emotions. And you talking about that, with you not being able to express that. I'll tell you something. That's one of my pet peeves with parents, is not letting their child express their feelings. I have seen parents smack their kids and then tell them, stop crying. Wait a minute, you just smacked them. The child obviously has some kind of negative reaction to it, so the child is crying. Why are you going to tell them to stop crying? If you didn't want them to cry, why did you smack them? I mean, it makes no sense to me. And it's like, that's a human feeling, a human emotion. If we're going to cry, we're going to cry. I used to think that crying was a weakness, and I would prevent myself from crying. And I realized, you know what? I need to go ahead and I need to embrace this, because I'm a human being and I can cry, and it's okay to cry. It's not a horrible thing. It's not a bad thing. It's a human emotion. Our emotions are part of what makes us human. If we can't express them on any kind of level at any type of age, then it's dehumanizing us. Just like with stuff that's going on right now, it's making us less humans. And I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry. I love being a human being. I'm happy to be a human being. I'm happy to be a spiritual being, actually having a human experience there's this point in time. And I love the fact that I do have feelings and I do have emotions and I can't express them. And please, any parent out there who's listening to this, do not suppress your child's feelings. They are so important. Am I not right, Heidi?
Expression is everything, definitely. A couple of points I wanted to say is, yeah, we've all been on a lot of stress lately. I know it's affected me because I'm also empathic. I'm not only a tarot reader, I'm psychic. So I'm empathic, and I feel a lot. And I think we both got on our soapboxes because we really want to talk, right? And I don't have a large audience, but I'm going to try to really build an audience here, because I think we both, as obvious, have a lot to say, and we want to share that. And we both have a lot of knowledge also. And Joyce, you seem to have your pulse on a lot of different statistics here. So like you seem to like. No, I just want to ask you a quick question, then I want to get back to something. So, um, what led you down the path to find out all this information that you have about your health and well-being? Joyce, hello? Hello?
Yes.
Go, I just asked you a question.
I'm sorry.
Oh, we're not echoing.
Nice. I'm
Yes.
sorry. Please repeat the question.
How, with your journey, you seem to have a lot of information. What led you down the path to investigate your health and well being?
Well, it actually wasn't an issue I was dealing with. It was an issue that my husband was dealing with back in late 2008, early 2009. My husband became sick. A visit to the doctor said that he had reoccurring mono, and he was told to take a month off of work. So he did that. He wasn't getting any better. He was becoming worse. He's always been very energetic, always a morning person, up in the morning, ready to do things. And, it landed up to where he would get up in the morning and a half hour later we would be back in bed. He was sleeping 16 hours a day. A month had gone by. He took off of work, wasn't getting any better, went back to the doctor. He was told he had chronic fatigue syndrome. He started researching reoccurring mono and told the doctor that he had symptoms that did not match the diagnosis. The doctor said, well, when the mono goes away, those symptoms will go away. So he was like, okay, fine. 4 months had gone past. He went back to the doctor again. The doctor said, you might as well file for disability because you're never going to work again. Well, he didn't like that. He's not one to just go, oh, okay, well, I'll just file for disability. I'll file for food stamps. He's not that kind of person. 6 months, is still not working, not getting any better. He's watching TV, and by a fluke sees this comedian on a talk show who had suffered from mercury poisoning from eating sushi for 20 years as his main source of protein. Excuse me. The man starts to talk about his symptoms, and my husband's like, that's me. So then he starts looking into where the mercury is coming from. The mercury, he found out it was coming from his amalgam fillings. The amalgam fillings are the silver fillings. He had 10 of them in his mouth at that time. And he had ran into a childhood friend who had a health store, and she put him on protocol to detox from heavy metals. He started getting better. He got better enough to where he could go to work at a desk job, and he started doing that. And my husband's also the type of person that he doesn't want to use credit cards. He doesn't want to be in debt. So he was saving the money from that to have his teeth fixed, had some of them fixed, had the amalgam fillings removed and replaced. Finally, he was able to have them all removed and replaced, and he was well enough to go back to his regular job, which is driving an 18-wheeler. But it wasn't until we totally changed our lives, because at that time I started doing a lot of research in natural living, because one thing he found out when doing his research was that the American Dental Association had a gag order on dentists where they could not tell people that the amalgam fillings were toxic because it's 50% mercury, or they could lose their license. So when we found that out, we were just like, okay, well, what else are they not telling us? What else don't we know? And that's when my research really started going, and just finding out how toxic our environment really was, the environment that we're living in, the food that we're eating, the chemtrails in the sky, the pesticides, just, fluoride in the water, just everything. And that's when I was like, I approached him. I said, look, if you want to truly get better and we want to live a good quality of life, we have to change everything. Excuse me. I'm like, we have to just totally re-gut everything that we're doing. And we did. And he landed up getting not only 50% better, not 100% better, but he was 150% better than what he was before. Right now he's 60 years old, and he will tell you he feels better now than he did when he was 40. So that's our story.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. So I kind of want to bring this to the end since this is our first broadcast and we had trouble at the beginning. And so I think probably what Joyce is up for, we'll, do some talks, do some tarot. We'll have some guests. I'm looking for guests who are interested in coming and joining us and just talk about whatever we want to talk about. I would ask that you not say brand names, not, and not institutions. Let's just talk in general. Okay. Just, be honest about things. So I kind of want to end by doing, a tarot just to see if I should be continuing and speaking in this way and if it's all right with Joyce. If we do that and continue. So I'm going to ask the tarot what direction I should take or we should take with speaking. Okay. So I'm done shuffling and I'm going to just do a few cards really quick. So I'm going to do 4 cards here. Oh, okay. So I'm going to read it this way. Let me see if I can do it. There we go. This is so hard with the laptop for me. So I got the Hermit. So this is telling me, I got the Hermit. The first 2 cards are the Hermit and the 5 of Cups. So the Hermit and the 5 of Cups, emotional distress. The Hermit, being kept away from everybody. That's what I'm feeling that energy is being kept away from everybody, not being able to share my emotions, share my truth, speak my truth. And I really want to do that. I feel like it's very important right now for me to speak my truth and not be shy about it. And so I have the last 2 cards are the Knight of Cups and the 3 of Wands. So that's all about moving forward with things. That's about, the Knight's all about energy. That's kind of like the fire energy for me. So, and the Cups, messenger. He's also, if you look, he's Hermes, the messenger. So that's bringing forward messages that probably need to be heard. And then we have the 3 of Wands, and the 3 of Wands is all about creativity. And it's also about 3. It's about people working together to create something special. So I'm going to take that as a yes. And I'm going to draw 1 card from the Fairy Wisdom Oracle, which Joyce actually introduced me to. And I'm like, yay! And Joyce is, understands tarot and stuff. But so what do we got? We got the the Flirt. So the Flirt is telling me, show me what you got. Show me what you got. Show me what you got. That's what's coming to me. But with oracles, it's always good to read what the person wrote about the card and what their intention was. The tarot is kind of set, but oracle is different. That's about what the person who made the deck is talking about. So the key word is attention. We all know that a little flirty thing can be fun. Fairies love to flirt, and it's just a part of their personality. I'm not going to read it all. I'm just looking through it, scanning it real quickly. Check in to make sure that you're not harming another. Are you getting involved in something that is not for you, for your good? Be careful not to flirt with danger. See things clearly and be truthful with yourself. Pay attention to that little voice within and its warnings. This card may also be telling you that opportunity is within reach, but you are only flirting with it. So, in other words, are we flirting or are we going to make a commitment? Fluttering about my head, this is a chant from this. Fluttering about my head, have you heard what I just said? Fairies dear as you can be, help to bring my truth through me. So mote it be. Smile at everyone you see today. Okay, I don't like smiling on camera because then I can see myself. So that's what I think. So I think we'll end here. Joyce, do you have anything else to add?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I do. It was so funny because when you were reading the tarot, I was shuffling my fairy wisdom oracle.
Oh, and what did you get?
I got the oldest fairy.
Oh, I'm familiar with him. I've had
Yeah,
him
so the
before.
oldest fairy is all about wisdom and timelessness. And you know, the younger generation looks to, if they're smart, they look to the more mature generation for guidance. So, because with age comes wisdom to those who choose to use their time on earth in a constructive way. So keep on living and learning and taking good care of yourself. The little ones need to have you around to tell them old tales and to guide their fresh young minds. Every person is useful down to their last moment on earth. For even in that last moment, one can impart wisdom. Visualize, speak, and think positively for your marvelous body. It birthed you into this world and will birth you into the next when the time is right. So the chant for this is my body is a temple wherein resides spirit. I love and appreciate my body for all the ways that it serves me. I visualize my body only in positive ways. I speak to my body only in positive words. I speak of my body only in positive words. I think of my body only in positive ways. For it is through my visualization, speech, and thought that I tell my body how it is to react to the world around it and to the years that it resides on earth. I ask that my body be engulfed in love and in joy. Oh, you know what? We need to avoid clocks today.
That is, I think, wonderful because that harkens back to what I was speaking about. The body is our temple, and
Right?
we need to treat that as such. Not, I'm not talking religion here. I'm talking as our temple.
Right.
You know,
Exactly. Exactly.
so I think that was perfect. So I think that we do talks, and when we get an audience, I will definitely sling some cards for people, and that will be part of it too. But I think we'll always end with a little bit of cards because I think that they always have something wonderful to
I
say.
agree. I agree. I totally
Okay.
agree.
Okay, so I'm going to end the broadcast now, and Joyce, you can hang out for a few minutes and we can talk after.
All right.
Thank you
Sounds
so
good.
much for people that will be seeing this in the future for finishing to the end with us. Bye now.
Bye.